Incredible Olga.
There are moments in life when everything turns into ruins.
Just pretend you're a frog and start jumping on all your four.
Became a spiritual yoga teacher thanks to Czech beer.
There is something unshakable in life, something that you can always rely on.
Now Olga is learning others to rely on. But at what cost and how many hearts have been broken?
And just a year and a half after I had left, he had a heart attack.
Hello, son.
Here comes the sun. Do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright.
Hello everyone, our guest today is Olga, an incredible lady who knows and will tell us how to get over a hard breakup and change your life for better with the help of a very, very effective method. And that's not what you're thinking about. We chose all this beer theme not by accident. You used to live in the Czech Republic, didn't you?
Yes.
Tell us how you ended up there and what all your story is about.
The story is about my personal life. I was dating a young man who was from the Czech Republic, right from Prague. And at some point he invited me to move to his place in Prague to live together. And well, I actually did. I moved with little to no preparation. That is, I didn't know the language. I had no friends, no relatives, like no one. And it was just to him, and that's it. To move both myself and all my stuff, that's another story. And the fact that I was literally presented a horse at that moment didn't make it easier. The horse I had trained since he literally was a foe.
So you'd known this horse for how long?
Oh, for 15 years at that moment. It was like my child that I was bringing up since he was 2. I decided to take the horse with me across the border, right to Prague, to the Czech Republic. Of course, it was a completely insane idea. I don't advise anyone to do this because this is just crazy amount of money, crazy effort, and make sure it is not a purebred stallion, as it was in my case, because it may raise a problem with authorities. The horse was transported in a special vehicle called a horse box across a recently opened border between Russia and Latvia to take him to the European Union. And before that, no horse had ever been taken across this border, so no one even knew what paperwork to draw.
Who are you?
There's a horse on the border. Okay, good. What next? They tried to deal with him somehow, to think of papers, how to register him, but in the end, when the horse arrived in the Czech Republic, I had to do custom clearance like with any big object. It turned out that they screwed something up in the system as if no horse actually crossed the border, which means my horse didn't come to the territory of the Czech Republic. At the customs, they said that we could, of course, assess the horse, make some new documents for him, as well as pay an insane amount of taxes for the fact that it came in, or we could just pretend that there was no horse at all.
So you basically brought an illegal horse?
Yeah.
Not every man has a lady coming to him on horseback.
That's right. We're going to do something very similar to Irish dancing. We put hands on our waist and jump up and down, throwing forward one leg or the other, but without bending at the knee. Don't have to jump high, but make sure to get off the ground.
I'm already starting to get off the ground.
Together with the mat.
Woohoo! How does this affect us, our bodies?
This exercise, basically any dances, any jumps, they have a very cool effect on the entire metabolism. They speed up blood circulation, warm up the body, make the excretory system work actively, and in general lift your mood. I literally had nothing there. I came to this one specific man because, in fact, I had nobody else there. No friends, no relatives, no job, no money. And job issue wasn't easy at all. Finally, I found a job that was perfect for me, but as always, there are some bureaucracy complications, and that's where I faced them. It took my employer and me a year and a half to get my papers done, to get my work permission. In the Czech Republic, they have to check all the citizens on the territory of the country to make sure that none of them can do this specific job, and only after that they're allowed to hire a foreigner. I had been working there for a year and a half, completely moved myself and all my stuff to the new place, the horse included. The life was all right, I got a few friends, learned the language so well they mistook me for a Czech. At a certain moment we agreed to marry so that I would feel more stable and convenient, so that I wouldn't have any sort of trouble with work permission, visa and anything else. But the preparation for the wedding in another country involves another ton of bureaucratic problems. For example, I had to fill out a bunch of papers in Russia.
So you came back here?
Yes, I had to collect this many paperwork so I could get married. And everything was going the way we'd planned until right after my birthday, literally the night before the wedding, on a beautiful morning, my man woke up, came down to breakfast and said, "Well, as you can see, wedding's not gonna happen," and just walked out the door, turned off the phone and left for 2 weeks. When something in your life gets stuck, when something just doesn't go, but you have to move on, do the frogs.
Okay.
All the blocks leave both your body and life. It was just complete shock and hysteria. I spent practically the whole 2 weeks crying. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't drink, couldn't do anything. It's one thing when a person still can talk it over, when they don't cut off contact, tell you that it is happening because of this and that. That's what went wrong and that's why there won't be a wedding. But I was left in a total vacuum for 2 weeks. I didn't know what was going on, why there wasn't gonna be a wedding. The man just walked out of the life. The phone is off, he's gone. I have no idea where he is. This isn't a sign of good self-esteem, but I think it's a normal reaction in a situation like this, that you're trying to figure out, did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? The funny thing is that my first thought was absolutely right. I mean, my first reaction was, "You've got another girl?" And he, of course, was like, "No, of course not. No, this is just ridiculous." And after these words, he left. But as it turned out, intuition never fails. I was looking for any option to stay in the Czech Republic because I had spent so much time and effort on it. But then I realized that coming back was the only option for me. It was far from simple, though, because by that time I had nothing in Moscow. No job offers, not even a place to live. All of my friends had relocated, so I was to come back to nothing. I didn't even have a feeling of being defeated or broken, no sense of failure while I was coming back. I was so shocked and confused that I did everything automatically. Now it seems to me that full auto was the only way to get over that. I really don't know how I coped with all this. Now we need to grab either the big toes or the feet entirely. Next we lift our feet and look for a balance point on the butt, on the tailbone, so that we can sit comfortably and steadily, keeping our feet in balance and feeling more or less alright.
Well, that's still all right.
If it's still alright, okay, then now we are going the hard way. Try to straighten your legs slowly and put them at this 60-degree angle. And stay in this position. Don't forget to put on a happy face, your chest straightened, you feel stable and grounded. The main thing is to keep breathing. When the decision that I had to go back to Moscow was made, I unfortunately had to leave my horse in the Czech Republic. Since he'd been brought to the country illegally, I simply couldn't take him back to Russia. And just a year and a half after I had left, he had a heart attack and died. I came back to Moscow completely frustrated and broken. I had health problems, I had hell of migraines, some spine problems, just every part of my body ached. Obviously, it was something psychosomatic. The body can't just get sick all at once. I had to rebuild myself because I had no job opportunities, no place to live, so I had no point of support. It's one of those moments when everything falls apart. And I was very lucky to have a friend in my life who just grabbed me by the hand, took me to a Kundalini Yoga class and said, "You just have to go there." So I went to the class and just stayed there. I just started practicing every day.
Why did you go so often? Was it some kind of need?
It was at organic level. My body was simply driving me. It said, "That's it, we're staying here in this class and we're going to train."
What other changes did you see on the physical, on the mental level, and how did they go?
The first effect, as I said, is the kind of euphoric state that comes after the class. And the second thing is, of course, the changes on the physical level. When I moved back to Moscow, I rented an apartment for a few months that was just an old flea bag with little to no renovation, strangely furnished, and there was no full-length mirror. And I probably didn't see myself in full height for like 3 months, but I just kept training. And then at some point I moved into an apartment with a full-length mirror, and I was blown away when I saw my reflection, because my body had completely changed. And when I saw my beautiful abs, my muscular arms...
In 3 months?
Yeah. When you practice this intensely, it works like a plunger. That is, it helps to clean out such deep, painful feelings. And then, some time passed, and walking down the street, I would start crying like a clown. Tears just started to flow. And that was my cleaning, getting all this pain out of me, which was certainly there, but which I was hiding from myself. This breakdown, as you say, it actually happened when I was doing Kundalini Yoga, when I got into it. When I started digging into what I had lived through, what I had felt, it all began coming out, and only then I got to see the full scale of destruction. Kundalini Yoga is considered a method of body-oriented psychotherapy, which means that by working with the body, we literally start to clean the emotional garbage out of our mind, which we sometimes, just bury as deep as possible, so that we can pretend that everything's cool and we don't need to get back to it.
What was the effect after that?
The effect, cleansing, inevitably a little emptiness. This always comes after experiencing such strong emotions. A feeling of numbness and silence, and then the birth of new emotions begins, because they already have a kind of free ground. Nothing prevents some new impressions, new feelings from growing. Maybe it's not always a pleasant process, but certainly a healing one.
How did you become a teacher?
I was pushed in this direction by the friend who brought me into this. He's an astrologer. At one point he drew all my charts and said, "That's your path." I was like, yeah, keep talking. But he said, "No, that's really yours. You have to do it. It will be very good for you to realize your potential. You'll be able to do a lot of good things for others." But I just ignored it. I thought, okay, I'm practicing, I'm working on myself, I'm dealing with my problems. I'm not going anywhere else. And then there was a man in my life whose name was Max Vasilyev. Our first meeting was absolutely wonderful when I came to a daytime class at some yoga studio. And I was talking to my friend at the reception. I was waiting for my class, and she said, "Well, no one's coming to practice. The instructor is here. Now we'll start the class." And she was like, "Well, Max, come out. You have a student here." And out comes a guy I would never willingly go to train with. A small, stocky man covered in tattoos, wearing a sleeveless t-shirt, shaved bald, with 3-day stubble. I just froze in horror, but it was kind of embarrassing to just turn around and run out of the studio. So I signed up for the class and had to have a training. And it was, as they say, love at first sight, in the most delicate sense of the word. He was a man of, first of all, amazing professionalism, one of the first generation of Kundalini Yoga teachers who taught very simply, very clearly, in a very accessible way, and a person with a great heart. When you came to his class, you were just immersed into the energy of his personality, into the reach of his soul. It was impossible not to feel it.
Such a medium channeler.
Exactly, yes. I realized that was it. That's the person I'm going to work with all the time. Right after that very class we had, some people came along during the class, and after that very class he says, tomorrow I'm going to Chukotka to save the local people from alcoholism. Kundalini Yoga, by the way, is an effective addiction treatment method. And after the very first class, which means I hadn't known him before, he saw me for the first time in his life. So he came up, gave me a hug and said, well, this girl here, he said to the others, will run the class next time.
Oh, I'm having goosebumps.
What? How? Why me? I'm just a student at the class. He was like, that's it, stop thinking. Stop just going to classes. Stop working with yourself. Work with the other people instead. I even see him in my dreams from time to time, but unfortunately he passed away a few years ago. There are people you meet just a few times in your life, but they have a huge influence on your development, on your future, and Max was definitely one of those people.
What would you advise to ladies who are going through this now, or something like this?
First of all, breathe. It's a good tip in any situation. Although it sounds simple, it makes your brain function properly. Secondly, make up some routine for yourself. Some basic everyday routine can actually get you out of any kind of bad state. Don't just lie face down on the couch. Well, you may want to lie for a day or two, cry it aloud. I don't know, maybe break a vase or two if you want to let your emotions go. Then, gradually, as you have the strength to do so, start distracting yourself with something. Switch your brain. Stop it from thinking around the same things it's been processing over and over, trying to find some answers. What the practice gave me personally was that inner core that everyone talks about, but
no one actually seen.
no one's really seen it, but one can feel it, as it turns out. To me personally, this practice, besides physical health, emotional and psychological health, I hope, it gave me this actual sense of support, a sense of stable ground. I came to understanding that life can turn in any direction, people can come and go, any kind of darkness and chaos may be going on around, but deep inside you there is this core that you can feel almost physically. You have yourself, you know who you are, you know you have something inside you that no one will ever take out from you.
It seems that Kundalini Yoga helped you to recover and find a new purpose, a new life. After that, did you have any cases when you helped others?
You know, to be honest, I'm doing my best not to focus on it, because there is a common idea in Kundalini Yoga that the teacher doesn't play such a vital role. I'm like a channeler. My job is to deliver this practice as clear and as simple as possible, in the most accessible terms, to pass the technique on. It would be strange if not the composer came out to the stage to bow after the concert, but the violin did. Thank me, I'm good, give me a round of applause. People usually applaud for the composer, and the practice in our case is the composer.
I would disagree, because if the violin isn't tuned well, it won't work out very nicely.
Yes, probably.
Well, has anyone ever thanked you for your practice?
Yes, of course. Some people have. Some people just come and tell you their stories, and they pretty often have really complicated emotional states, not only on the physical level, because roughly speaking, if you just want good abs, you can simply go to the gym, right? But when a person is in a really difficult situation, when they do not understand what to lean on and how to live, this practice definitely helps. And yes, I had cases like that too. There definitely are people who have pulled themselves up to some other level through the practice.
And I've never told you this before, but I also had a really bad divorce, and I had no job, I had no place to rest my head, and I had a kid, and then I went to Kundalini Yoga, but I just couldn't find the right violin. I couldn't find the right teacher.
Your teacher.
And when I came to you, you helped me tremendously. You literally saved me.
I'm gonna cry.
You saved me out from such a depression, such a deep that I've never experienced ever since.
God, what a balm for a teacher's soul. I'm so glad that we came across each other.
What's the takeaway from all this? Why did you need this lesson? What do you think?
Oh, What was it for? Let me put it this way. I can tell you what it gave me in the end. Even if your life has been turned upside down twice, you still can get up, shake it off, rethink, replan your life, start doing something new, and in my case also get a new profession that not only literally pulled me out of this situation, but also happens to help the other people around. I've just got this kind of trust in universe, in life, in the fact that even if you don't like what's going on right now, it probably keeps you from something even worse, or takes you to another level. Or it's some kind of a critical moment that will give you a new spin to the next level of development.
Do you appreciate that period of time now?
I do. I do with a smile and with gratitude and sometimes with a bit of nostalgia. You know, when you live through it honestly, work through all the emotions that came along with all that, it's only after that when you can look at all what you experience from some distance, from above, philosophically, and laugh at everything that is gone.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.